Hello everyone, it's good to be back and building. So this one actually came out a lot better than I had anticipated. I've already built half of it, and I didn't have enough time to scrap it and record myself building it, but for the most part it's all the same concept throughout the settlement, and I'll take you through each part. So the idea behind this build, we're at Spectacle Island. I wanted to go back to a very scrappy, survival looking build. So that's why I'm using a bunch of wood pieces, and I'm going to make it look as run down as possible. I'm building the marketplace right now, but it's going to be kind of like a tree community, not a tree house. We're not building tree houses, we're building a tree community. So the idea is that, when you first discover Spectacle Island, it's filled with Mirelurks and all that. So I'm building it up in the trees as a just-in-case situation. And again, keeping it very scrappy, kind of worn down looking, for the most part, to an extent. Not too much where it just looks like garbage, but it's going to look pretty cool, I promise. But yeah, so we're building the marketplace now. I just realized that, get in there. Okay. Just realized that I didn't build it big enough, so I'm going to remove these two. Now, one problem that you're going to run into when you're building in the trees is that not everything will snap, like this floor. So you kind of have to build around it. And really, it's kind of easy. You just kind of leave the gap, put the smaller floors down in there, and just build around it like I'm doing now. And then you can just place railings kind of along those edges to cover it up so you don't fall. And that way you don't have to completely scrap where you're at or kind of relocate. You can just kind of build around it. It's all pretty straightforward and kind of repetitive since we're not using a lot of different pieces. It's really just wood, some metal pieces, and scaffolding. So I'm going to try to speed up the places where I'm kind of doing the same thing, like right here, placing in these side walls, just so I don't put anybody to sleep. Okay, so I use a prefab, that way a wall will snap into it, just like that. It won't snap on this side, but with these wood walls, they're pretty forgiving. They'll just place in, just like that, no problem. That's going to be a room for one of the vendors. I'm going to have 2 rooms over here, and then a lot of the vendors on the outside over here. Let's close this off with the roof. This next part you guys have seen before. If you just get the side wall, you can make a doorway, which I'm not using any mods, I forgot to mention that, no mods. Otherwise I would have used a doorway that came with the snap and build mod that we desperately need, but not gonna open that door. Ha! Pun intended. Oh, that was dumb. Okay. Getting back to the railing finally, so the ones on the left side, they don't want to fit, but if you use the concrete or scaffolding, they are much more forgiving, so you can always use those as a safety. Okay, so this next part, I'm going to place down some raider tents, which are always a pain in the ass, so I'm just going to speed it up. Okay, so nightmare over. I actually cut out a lot of stuff. It was crazy. Anyway, placing the doorway, which I do change from the warehouse door to I think the wood. Yeah, the wood doorway. And for the walkway, I use a lot of the wood from the scaffolding tab. It just looks better in my opinion. And underneath all of this is a ton of scaffolding, which I'll show you later. So just having these pieces just helps out for later on. Yeah, the door, let me fix that gap. There we go. Okay, looking good, looking good. Alright, moving on. I went ahead and mapped out the entire walkway, which is going to save a lot of time on the video. So I'm just going to speed that up so we can get to the good part. Okay, so on this side, I placed down 2 small shack floor pieces instead of the scaffolding wood because not a lot snaps to the wood from the scaffolding tab. And I wanted to place an elevator right there. I didn't know if it's going to be tall enough, but just watch. Just hang on. Just, whoop. No, here it comes. Yeah, look at it. It just snapped in there perfectly. I didn't even plan that out. It was like, it'd be nice to have an elevator right here. And it just fits. And I wanted it to be like sunk in a little bit, which it is. That way it looks overgrown, like they just found it and then applied power to it and now it's working. So I was just so excited. And now I'm just placing the concrete walls around it. So again, the idea behind this is that they just found it. So it's going to be very, very basic, not a lot going on. It's just going to have like a generator and maybe a few boxes. I don't want it to look appealing to the outside, like to raiders at all. There's not going to be a lot of security around the settlement, maybe like a few turrets here and there. And I changed this to a powered door, that way. So this is like the only way in and out. So I want to make sure that it's a little bit difficult to keep things out. And I changed that to a better generator in a little bit, but look at it. Oh, I was so happy in this moment right here. Okay, moving on. I think I'm just going to add in the railing around the rest of the walkway, which I do. You've seen it a lot of times, so I'm just going to speed this up and I'll be right back. Alright, this is going to be the last building. It is a police station. The first part is pretty straightforward, so I'm just going to skip through it. I do fall a couple of times, so don't laugh, and I'll be right back. Alright, in this room, I want there to be a lower level separated by these steps. And I'll show you how to do that. Let me just jump down and remove the steps, get them out of our way. And the scaffolding, I'll put that back up in a little bit. So what you want to get is the wooden stairwell, or staircase, whatever it is, and snap it to the floor at the top. There it is, and then stack another one beside it, just like so. And then you can get the shack foundation and snap it to the bottom part of it, just like that. Now get out your steps and place it over here, and then you can just select your shack foundation and slowly bring it down to the bottom part of the steps. That way it's flush. That looks pretty good. Alright, so then you just do the exact same thing. Get the stairs out and then stack it back up top like this, and then I can just put a floor down and bring it out. So that should be slightly below the top floor. And let's go take a look. I'm going to remove these stairs over here. I just have them there for all the times that I have fallen. It's just a lot easier to get back up. And let's take a look. And it should be good. Let me put the steps in. And it's perfect. Yeah, absolutely. Alright, so now I'm just going to finish building the rest of this room. Okay, so that took forever, and I went ahead and finished up this walkway. You guys didn't need to see that, it was just railings and stuff. But I do want to show you how I do the scaffolding underneath. So the scaffolding floor will not snap to the large wood piece, because that would be way too easy. You have to get the small shack floor for it to be able to snap to it. You want to make sure that you're using the scaffolding floor because that's what the frame is going to snap to. And even then, it can still be a little bitch. You have to make sure that the frame corresponds with the floor and that there's no walls around it. Except for this one. This one will snap to the one to the right, like so, even though there's walls all around it. But this one will not snap at all. I have to remove the wall to the left, like, yep, and now it works. With these, you have to play around a lot just to get them to snap to each other like I'm doing here. If you can get one side to snap together, the other side's pretty easy. And that's pretty much what I did all around here. I just made sure that I put the scaffolding in places where it looked more stable. And see how it's not working right here? It's because there was the shack floor, so I removed it and putting the scaffolding floor up there, and it should work with no problems. Yeah. A lot of this is just playing around with it, being mindful of the build order, and just having a ton of patience. And at the end, I like using the mod that lets me fly around. That way I can take a look at everything, make sure it all looks stable, and it does. Especially with the scaffolding, you want to make sure nothing looks out of place. I'm actually going to fix this corner right over here. Any corner piece or a piece that goes up, you want to make sure that you have some kind of support underneath it, otherwise it looks weird. All underneath here, I've used the post and scaffolding, so I kind of mixed the two together just to give it a little bit more character and make it look a little bit more supported and not too repetitive with just scaffolding all over the place. But that is it from me. I really appreciate you all stopping by and having a look. Stick around for the tour. I did completely decorate everything, so there won't be a part 2 for this build. It is completely done. Please give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you soon.